Good morning. I'm Brenda Jo. I am the founder of a boutique brokerage here in San Diego for insurance, where we work on placing those companies that are having difficulties or are in a market that's harder to work with. I wanted to introduce my good friend here, Valerie Medina, who's a trusted advisor in the real estate space. Valerie is a broker with Trust Properties USA, where her firm has the unique proposition for families to help after a loved one has passed by updating the properties and selling it to them at a profit with no out-of-pocket costs up front to them. So first of all, welcome, Valerie. I'm so excited to see you again, just back from your European vacation.
Thank you. It's great to be here, Brenda Jo.
Let's start off with telling a little bit more detail about what you do with your firm and how it just sets you a little bit apart, or actually quite a bit apart from most others. And then I have some fun questions for you down our conversation
Okay,
today.
great. Well, my title really is realtor. I'm a broker. I'm a broker associate with Trust Properties USA, and that does categorize me. So I appreciate the time to be able to explain really what we do. We're more like property managers. So um, the properties that are referred to us are from professionals like attorneys and fiduciaries after someone has passed. And the property, it might be in good condition, it might be in terrible condition, but no matter what, it needs so much more than just a realtor to sell it. So what I do is I come on the scene and assess what is needed to get that property sold at the highest market value possible, so the beneficiaries and the trustees can have as much profit as possible, because oftentimes that's their inheritance or they need it to live on for the rest of their lives. So it's really critical that these properties are just not flipped and sold to investors for cash, for pennies on the dollar. Our services are from A to Z. We're a one-stop shop. So we do, a lot of times they're occupied by unwanted beneficiaries or occupants. So um, we'll address and start like an eviction process, but many times we don't have to go that far. We can negotiate cash for keys, and or just negotiate to get them out because they're beneficiaries, and then they're going to get their inheritance if we can sell the property sooner. We do dehoarding. A lot of times the properties have a lot of hoarding, rodent infestation, abandoned cars, deferred maintenance. The properties just need to have a complete facelift many times. On top of that, there's violations from the city, the county, and most importantly, we really can't do anything with the property until we know it's properly insured. So that's where you come in, Brenda Jo. I have to say I cannot do my job without you.
And I appreciate that. Sometimes your properties are a little tough, I have to say. Um, I'm glad that you explained in detail what you do. I do have a question. Like, one, why did you choose this focus area of all the places in real estate? This takes a lot of time and energy, and you have to bring advisors from all different industries in to help you out. Why not just be a realtor that just sells?
Good question. Well, I was recruited into an office where the referrals were from banks and attorneys. So I've really never been a regular realtor. Um, I've never really been in an arena where there's a living seller, living buyer. I have done those transactions to test the waters. And, when you're a realtor, you get referrals no matter what your niche or your specialty is. So when I've done those types of transactions, that I would rather work on a professional side with a professional um, seller, or representing a professional who's representing a seller, just because we can get our job done well, and we don't have to deal with a whole lot of opinion, drama, emotion. Um, when the
Mhm.
people are living. So, um, or the when I did start as a realtor and I was recruited, that was bank owned REOs. So the former borrowers were still living in the properties. And that's when I started knocking on doors telling these occupants, hey, the bank owns your home. I'm the messenger. I'm neutral. How can I help you? What do you need? And I would start negotiating on their behalf. And instead of seeing me as someone who's threatening, they saw me as someone who could help them get on to the next step in their lives. And so that's what I take to my job now. A lot of times the properties are occupied, and these fiduciaries and trustees and administrators, they don't know where to start. They don't know how to get the property sold. They don't know how to get it vacant or fixed up or anything. It's just a huge challenge. It's a huge mountain they're facing. And so I like to come on the scene and say, look, I'm neutral. I'm just here to get you to the next step. What's your goal? Let me show you how we can get it done. And I keep it real simple. I don't give too much information. They don't really have to know all the junk that we have to deal with. So we try to make it very easy, no stress, no drama. And I like that. I like being the resource.
Yeah, it sounds like you're much more of a consultant, really a counselor to these individuals and families as you're helping them move through this process, whether it's the eviction part or the cleaning or the selling. I was curious to know, other than the construction side, what other services are you having to bring in to help the families as they cope during this process?
Well, when we finally do get the home vacant, we then we can get the bid from the contractor to see really what's needed. And so we do use a contractor who's been working with Trust Properties USA for over 20 years. And in San Diego County, which is my territory, he's the only contractor that I use. So I don't know what's going to happen when he retires, but it's a family business. So hopefully he has someone to come in and replace him. He's the foreman. He doesn't do the work, but once I get that bid and I know what we're up against, I do have some really great San Diego vendors and professionals. So I have a flooring person. Um, he does the plumbing and the electrical. I have a roofer. He's got the painter. So together we get all these people on site to take care of the items in the order they're supposed to be taken care of, which is what the contractor does. He addresses all of that. I just once he comes on the scene, I can sit back and wait till his job is done. Once in a while, I'll go to the property to walk through it with him to see if there's something that I want done differently. And then as far as the trash outs and the clean outs, I have some wonderful professionals that go above and beyond. So I have two different types. One is he's called Bio One, and he does yucky, smelly, icky, gross filth.
Yeah.
The other one is Next Phase Move Assistance, and she does all the nice inventory, packing, donating, a lot of sorting and keeping it nice and pretty and organized. So between those two, I can also get my job done to get the house cleaned out on a timely basis.
Tell me, I know that you refer to this sometimes as the family flip. What is your most favorite flip that you were able to help facilitate and
My
transact?
favorite flip, I don't have one in particular, but the my favorite flip of all is when it's usually a probate because it's an unplanned event. So someone dies, there's no trust, there's no will, the probate attorney gets involved, and it can be contentious and everybody's fighting. And so my favorite family flip is when I come on the scene and I explain, hey, this is what I can do for you. And all of a sudden they start trusting me. And then they start, you know, thanking me and asking me questions about, wow, what's next and how did you do this or how can you do this or can we do this? They'll ask me instead of tell me. And then at the end, when it's a beautiful product, they're like, wow, this house looks amazing. We never thought they'll even sometimes cry, grown men crying because their mom and
Mm,
dad raised them in that house. And then we're able to sell it to a new family who's going to make memories. If you sell a house to an investor for cash, it's not going to a family to make memories. It's they didn't have no idea what
right.
the investor is going to do with it. But in my case, we make it so pretty and we stage it and we market it, and it typically goes to a conventional buyer. And that way they know they get to pick the offer too. So, they can see who's buying the house. And then I always say it'll be a wonderful new family who can make memories in the home. So the closure is really amazing. And that's my happiest and best family flip.
That's awesome. I think that that brings so many people a huge sigh of relief where each of our homes where we grew up is such an emotional attachment. We don't want to see anyone tear it down. We loved, living in there, and so that's such a big help, I believe. I'm curious on the other side, right? Where you could give me a call up and you're like, oh my gosh, can we insure this? And you send me some pictures. And that's usually after a couple of things have already been done before you send me those
Mm-hmm.
pictures. So when you tell me a story where you were just completely unsure on how to navigate a home that was just beyond habitable, other than that you have to get hazmat in. Like, what was your aha moment? Like, okay, now I got this. This is what we need to do.
Well, this is my fourth year with Trust Properties USA and my 15th year in this type of business. And, you know, as soon as we take an assignment or get a listing agreement, it has to be insured no matter what the condition. And so that's like my go to. I mean, there's no question at all, no matter what the condition. So sometimes if the condition is just so over the top, deferred maintenance with, broken out windows and damaged walls and uh, a lot of I'm sorry, I forget the word, where it's just a huge mess inside and out. And now, I'm so concerned about fire hazard. So, if they're next to a canyon, and they could be a beautiful house, but it just is right next to a canyon. And so the go-to, I don't care what the condition is. I'm just honest with my broker, who is Brenda Jo, and I try to give her every single detail. And then, you know, get it insured, and then I can go to work. So there's never been a question about anything. It's just if we can't get insurance, that would be, I have never had that happen yet, but that would be devastating if a property could not be insured. That just would, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. We can't invest in the property at all. We can't front any money if it's not insured, and that's a broker's rule. So
Yeah, and that's probably going to start popping up. I'm not going to lie to you about that. As carriers have pulled out of California, and you've seen, a bit of the pricing go up, even from last year to this year, quite significantly, and my options are being squeezed all the way around. Again, depending upon the condition of the home and what the intent is also of the home in terms of how much rehab you have to do. But what I'm seeing is, uh, working with the California Fair Plan, which is fire hazard only. Um, it remains to be seen what's going to happen on the vacant homes that are extremely inhabitable because they require pictures up front, and they want 4 pictures up front of the outside. They don't ask for the inside, and so some of the things they look at obviously are debris around a home, and some of the homes you get have a lot of debris around them, and so it may be a catch-22 where you have to remove that debris in order to get the coverage. So we're going to have to navigate this together very slowly through this, and kind of help your clients along and let them know like this might take a little bit longer if we are in a wildfire hazard area for sure. It's Yeah, I really try to be on top of it. It is not a pretty picture out there. I try to be super hopeful. I found a couple of carriers that are my go-to for ones that are kind of near a canyon. And every carrier has different lengths. Some are 400 feet, and some are you can't be 2 miles within a canyon or a grove of trees. So it's really changing quite a bit, and I will keep you apprised. But I would say if if there's one thing I could give you and your clients is like we need a longer runway, right? Just doing it right away and getting it done in a day is probably not the reality any longer, but we can help you work through that. I wanted to ask you on this about the timing. You have a lot to do. You have to clean out the house, you rehab, you remodel, you get it ready to list. At what time would be the most ideal for a family or to reach out to their trust attorney or a probate attorney to reach out to you to get you involved?
Well, it's all triggered by the death. So once that occurs, things do typically start moving right away. The Once I'm on the scene, I start rocking and rolling right away. I think what people do is they wait to call the realtor because they think a realtor's a realtor. And so with what I'm trying to do is get the word out that we have all the resources so they don't have to wait to call Trust Properties USA. They can actually contact us from the get-go so that we can address all the issues, because so many times I'm called after they've hired an eviction attorney who's charging them thousands and thousands of dollars, and my eviction attorney that I use is amazing and very affordable. So if I'm called first, the trust or the estate can save thousands of dollars. So that's my goal, is to get the word out that I am a project manager, I'm a resource, I'm a mentor to get through this whole issue, this whole project, because from start to finish, it can be well over a year. I had one that was 3 years.
Wow.
So they can take a long time if you're trying to do things yourself. You don't have the resources, you're all arguing, you don't know where to start, you don't know what to do. The attorney does not want to be involved. The attorney does not want to give that kind of advice. So the attorneys that I'm working with now, I'm very happy to say they're sending referrals.